Hi guys, welcome to Bunny's Designs. So what I was going to do in here is I'm having a practice because I bought this Bible journal kit, and it says personalize your Bible with stickers, tabs, colored pencils and more, but there was this ruler page protector which I thought was quite good. Oh, hi Sandy, welcome to Bunny's Designs YouTube live. It also had 8 colored pencils, a pouch with adjustable strap. It had alphabet stickers, it had inspirational stickers, and it said it had an archival quality journaling pen and 24 marker tabs for marking special pages. So I thought, I love that, and all those things are in this pouch. And this Bible journaling pouch is for my creative Bible that I bought, which is here. I've also bought some gorgeous washi tape. Now I do have about 3 or 4 washi tapes, but I'm not a big washi tape person. But after my trip to Ireland, I found these little diddy sticker ones, and they were from the Works in Northern Ireland. And I bought 3 sets, creative design washi tape, and they were pinks and purples, and then I bought some browns, and I also bought a complete tube of 8 different ones, and I think they had these gorgeous faith, hope, love butterflies on them. I really thought they were pretty. So there's the peach ones that were in one set, and of course I've taken them apart now, and then there were the other sets. There was 8 in one set, and I love this one because it had growing grace, living love, and walk by faith, and I thought that was really pretty. So all of a sudden I went from 2 or 3 greens to about 18. I bought 18, and if you sit them flat, they will all go inside here. So this became my Bible journaling pouch. Oops, I didn't put that flat. So that zips up. I've got a few little tabs. I have these brass stencil plates. So again, I want to start using those. Oh, hi, Suzanne. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. I found these little heart stickers, so I thought they could go in there as well. I've obviously bought this little printing set for edgings, so I thought that would bob in there as well. And then, of course, I've got the things that were in the set. So these are the inspirational lettering, stickers. And then I had another set of stickers I bought from a different set. This is a different set, colouring stickers. There's over 120 sheets, so they're all in here as well. And I also have these tabs, which are all different, and they're all in from that set. So they all look really pretty, and they're going in this particular Bible here. I also fished about the stash and found these old letters, and I thought they may come in handy. And they're not very thick, they're cards, so they're not going to add a lot of bulk. So I thought they would go in. And I love this little pouch. I've used it for all sorts of things. It's one of the travel airline pouches to put things in, so you can put watercolour pens in. So I like this pouch, and this kind of goes with this set here for when I'm journaling a pre-coloured, pre-drawn Bible. But while I was away, I wanted to do my own designs, which I've practiced in this this small living Bible here. And this was a practice with watercolours. Now I've just tested the archival pen, and it does not bleed through. It shows through, but it doesn't bleed through. And it's a lot stronger than my Rotring isograph pen. And mine's a 0.25, and this is permanent Indian ink. And this is what I normally use. So if I do another doodle, this is a very fine pen. I have 10 different sizes, but I like the 0.25 best. And as you can see, it's a lot finer. But again, even though it's archival ink, it doesn't show through as much. In fact, you can hardly see that. I'll draw it here. And this is obviously my floral design. And again, you can't see it through. You can just barely see it, but it isn't showing. And it's a lot less than this particular one, but I was very surprised that this one didn't go through. So I can use that one in this set. I'm quite happy to use that one on a Bible page, because this is a thin Bible page. Now, what this taught me a couple of years ago was to use not ink 10s, because they show through and they go through, but the Derwent watercolor pencils, when you use them from a paper palette, they don't show through and they don't hardly go through. They don't go through and they hardly show through. So that was going to be that's my colouring section. Hi Patricia, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? We are live on YouTube. I kind of messed up Ustream, so apologies. So welcome everybody in YouTube land. I feel a bit like going from ITV to BBC, but never mind, or vice versa. So in the set were also these pens, these twistables. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them, but it's kind of an easy way to use pencils. So there's 8 of those in the set. So I probably will try and use those, although I don't really like to use them. But I have taken the pouch away, and the little tiny washi tapes were in this little pouch from the works. So I've taken them out and I've attached it to here, and then I found another old one that I had. And I've been making my own stickers, because what I want to do is put my own floral designs in the Bible. And so I'm making my own washi tape with the Scotch tape, and I think you can also use bandage tape as well, but it's not very aggressive and it's see-through. So I've been drawing on there. So I've kept the old middle, and what I'm doing is drawing on one of them, and then I'm winding it round. So probably what I will do is I'll use this as I go along, because it's never going to be the colours that I'm using at the time. So again, this is a bit of a sample of my colours and my little doodles, my floral design, which I did about nearly almost 40 years ago. I put some stickers in here, again, just ordinary plain stickers. Oops, the light's very bright in here. So I can use these and they're not going to be as aggressive as a sticky tape. I've got a little card in there, and I've got a little ruler. I put my Tim Holtz, my Expert scissors in there, because they're very good cutters. And I will be putting my isograph rotary pen in there, and I probably might put a pencil in there. I'm not sure. I don't normally use pencils. So that's going to be the little pouch which is going to accompany my new Bible. As much as I love that one, I wanted one. I've been hunting for a while of one that I can use my own designs on. And when I went to Ireland, I knew where I had to go, the Faith Mission shop, and I came up with this one. And this one is, and I find my little, Murphy's Law says you can't find it. It's my piece of paper that I've been saving. But we've just had a live a cat show with all the pussycats. So it's probably got squished in somewhere. No, it's disappeared. I can't show you the cover, but I probably will find it in a bit. How strange. Ah, here it is. This one is the New International Version. It's a single column journaling Bible, and it has unlined margins. And that was important because I wanted it to hold all my designs. And so you can see there is a lot of journaling space in here and a lot of creativity. And that's what I wanted. So I didn't want any other designs and nobody else's designs but mine. So although I've made this from one of my other Bibles, now I have my new one, I can use this as a rest. And you need to do that because whatever you press on will go through. And it will indent the next page. Oh, hi, Sandra. Anybody else popping in? Oh, sorry, Suzanne. So everybody, welcome to Bunny's Designs. So as you can see, I've scribbled, just move the camera slightly. I scribbled, oh, I shouldn't say scribble. I've drawn in pencil some design. But as you can see, my rotary Indian ink pen, I've just done this as a design. You can see it through, but it doesn't go through. So I can draw that, any design I want in this Isograph Indian ink, permanent ink. And I can see it. I prefer it slightly to pencil, but of course, if you're a bit wary about it, you can do it in pencil first. I would think using an eraser on here is going to be a bit difficult because it's very thin. And I will be using my Derwent watercolour pencils, but I will be using them from my little book of watercolours because anything direct on here is too strong. But I found the best way is my Derwent watercolour pencils, which I have made into square palettes. These are paper palettes that allow me to colour anything I want. I will be putting them in this small version, and the entire page will be one colour, because this will be special for Bible journaling. Because what I tend to do is I flip all the time through this, and I've got the Derwent watercolour pencil 72, I've got Derwent Inktense pencil 72, I've got about 120 Neocolor 2s, I've got my Peerless. I'll be putting other colours back in here as well. And if I flip automatically here, these are Derwent Inktense pencils. And as I practiced earlier, they will go through. Not very much, but they're very strong and they will show through. So I've decided to use the middle ones here, which are the Derwent watercolour pencils, and you can hardly see them. And again, they show through and they bled through. So I was trying to, and this was the practice of the archival pen, and then this is my rotring pen. So you can see the difference, but I'm hoping that that's going to be waterproof. We'll find out in a minute. But mine definitely is. But this little pen that they put in this set said it was archival. So hopefully it meant it was suitable for Bible journaling. The other thing I use quite a lot, and I've used this for making, I was going to make my own washi tape out of double-sided sticky tape. So I've got thin pieces and thick pieces of double-sided sticky tape, and I put one sheet of photocopy paper on top. But I thought that would be too aggressive. So I probably might use them as stickers. I think I'll probably use them as stickers. So I've cut some up and I've left them black and white because when you're working on a page, you might want to change the colour. And so attached here is a little section and they're all blank. It's just one or two that are coloured. And that's going to allow me to make some little stickers. And I can colour them in with the colours I'm using on any particular page. And I don't, some are coloured in, but others aren't. So I thought a mixture in this little pouch here would work quite well. So for those shapes, again, you might want to use shapes in the margins. I've got this Helix flowchart template. And I really like this because you can put like little banners and things and hearts and diamonds. So you can make some pretty cool shapes that if I was doing them by hand, they'd kind of be a bit kind of ugly. Oh, hi, Helen. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. So without further ado, I shall finish my page. Now, I really don't like this, but it was the only one with the wide margin. So I'm going to either stick that together and then that will come out as the first page, or I will stick a plain piece of card over there and that will be covered in my designs. So I finished that one in pencil. There's one or two little gaps. And I've photocopied some of these and cut them out. These are my floral designs. So I'm going to put these on the website and then people can photocopy them and print them out. And then they can kind of put them behind a page and trace them and kind of make their own designs up. So there is a set of lettering to go on here as well. And I was hoping to bring some stamps out because I thought these would look quite pretty in stamps. There's quite a few designs. I've been doing them since I was about 16, so that's almost 40 years. Oops. I think it's about time I used them. It's now become kind of a doodle, so it's quite nice that they're my doodles, and that was for a large tag, which I thought would look quite nice. I did trace some. And we coloured some in, and I was playing with the lettering, and then I've forgotten that years ago I actually designed my own lettering to go with this particular design. And so I shall be using that. And at the same time, I designed my logo almost 40 years ago. So again, I thought it's about time I used that as well. So again, you can colour them in lots of different ones. Now, some of these are not the Derwent watercolour pencils. I will be doing those differently. But this is the lettering, and it's made out of the leaves and the flower petals. So it matches. So I thought that would really make me feel better because I'm creating my own doodles, my own designs, rather than colouring somebody else's in. So I've been cutting up a few of these and fitting them round. Now, normally I just doodle. This page is the one that's risen a little bit. You've got to be a bit careful. But normally I just kind of doodle. Again, I love this pen. It doesn't matter what you do with it. It's always ready to work. And sometimes I don't touch these pens for months. And they don't get washed out. I found when I have washed them out, they're kind of a bit looser. So I like the rose that I put into there. So this top corner. And again, you've got to be comfortable if you're doing this. So I'm going to have to just jiggle that onto that side a bit because of that ridge. So we'll do this. And I say, if you're not really happy about doing it in ink, you could always do it in pencil first. And we possibly have one out there, and then we can kind of join these up. And we can have, oops, again, you've got to make sure you're on your, because if you go through it, you will make a mark. And I probably have, I haven't, but I've gone through the paper. But I love these pens because they're basically a tube with a piece of wire just gently sticking out the bottom, and the ink drips down the wire, and that's why they are so fine. So it's a wonderful, we use them in graphic design, as I say, the late 70s, early 80s. I trained as a graphic designer, and this was one of our first assignments, was to go around the art gallery next door in the archives underneath in the cellar below, and pick out something that we wanted to kind of design with. And I chose this Chinese silk dress, silk skirt, I think it was. Oops. So thanks for joining me, guys. I hope everybody's all right. So again, where I paused and made a little hole, it did go through, but you've got to be brave. You couldn't put the pen on and stay. You've got to put the pen on and immediately start moving, as you would with photocopy paper. I've got some layout paper, which is almost as thin, and that's a good practice as well. So I've kind of got my nice rose there. I normally just doodle, but again, if you want to have a look, you can see the different ones. Some I haven't changed at all, and some I have. So we've got a couple of butterflies there. And I've just got to be that bit careful, because this is the ridged page. This is when you put it flat, it's shorter, and we've got to keep that edge kind of, it's up there rather than in the middle. So it's going to keep that nice and firm. So we can kind of do this with this. And you've got to concentrate, but it's probably more of a doodle now. So again, that's quite nice, because not everyone is exactly the same. So there's something quite nice about hand drawn. So I like I do like hand-drawn things. So we've got that one in there. And I intend to just kind of fill that whole space. So I do want to put the top on my pen because tendency to, you've got to be careful with the nibs. And probably went on the floor. Oh, I know where it is. The other thing I love about this pen is the top fits, and that's one of my pet loves and pet hates. So we've got that on there. Now, my watercolours are not in here yet. I've just recently put them back into this one. So really quickly, I'm not going to use a water brush because it would be too wet. I'm going to use a damp rigger. And at the moment, my favourite ones are the Graduate Dale Rowney riggers. I've got a 1, a 2. I've got an Art Master Pearl 5520. And then for the very fine work, which I don't think I have here, I have my 10-0 liner, Dale Rowney liner. And these are the pens that I like the best. And this is what they look like when they're kind of dry. Oops. But we dunk them in water. Oops. And then we twist them on a baby wipe individually if we can. And that's what they look like. That one does go to a point. I didn't wet it enough. You twist, draw it back. Now I'm using it's quite wet actually now. This is a makeup sponge. You can use a jam jar lid, and this is the makeup lid. But you can use a face wipe, a baby wipe, or a hand wipe, but not kitchen roll or anything dry, because what we want to do is we want to keep it moist. We don't want it wet, but we want it moist. And that's the secret to watercolouring, is the moistness. So we want a barely damp rigger. We want to put a little bit of colour on the end, and then we want a watercolour effect. Now, I don't think I'm really bothered about a watercolour effect on this particular one, but the bigger the space, the bigger the brush. That's how I work. I like this one, so I'm going to use the number 1, I think. I'll put that out of the way. But what I'm doing, dunking in water and then drawing it back. And then if you can see, this is a bit wet now. It's wet. It probably wants squeezing out. But if you just not bother dunking it into the water, if you just draw back, that is barely wet, and that's what we want. If it got too wet, it'd be too much. So we may as well start with a nice geranium pink. So I've scratched the colour onto here. Don't want very much. And if I just very carefully drag this across, now you're going to get a little bit of buckle because it's a Bible page. But I do iron mine. So I'm not really going for the watercolour effect. I just want a little bit. Now we have got a bit of a buckle on there. And you can see that, you can see it. It'll show through, but it won't go through. But if I'm by accident went to an ink tense, because it's ink, it would go through. So I want to keep within my Derwent pencils. So we're going to look for a nice, I've got a nice orange here. So again, clean the brush. And this way of working is you don't waste a lot either. So that's quite nice. So the deep cadmium is the bottom one here. Scratch a bit of colour. And this is a really nice way to work. It's really nice to just be able to sit very quietly. And I have got a bit of a watercolour effect on that, so I quite like that. It all depends on how much colour you pick up on the end of the and you've got to be comfortable. And we're just manipulating that round. So I know that this number 1 graduate liner pen is big enough for this area, but I have done hundreds of pages in this. If you're first doing it, I suggest you do it in a photocopy paper. And then once you've done a whole page, you're then ready to know the dampness of the brush, the size of the colour page or the pattern, because even I sometimes run out of paint. But this is actually watercolouring, so you start with a strong colour and you end up with a beautiful soft watercolour effect. And I'll zoom in so you can see it, because it really is a wonderful way to get a watercolour effect without using any or hardly any water. To bring Alfie into so you can make sure we can see the best. So you can see that lovely watercolour effect, and it's dried almost instantly. On the other side, we've got hardly any crinkle. I'll move across. We've got hardly any crinkle. We can see the red, but we can't see the yellow. But that's quite strong. That's very strong geranium lake. So if I wanted, so you only need 4 paintbrushes, for goodness sake. You only need 4. The trick is wiping it on a baby wipe or a barely damp sponge. So I think I'm going to go for a baby wipe, so for a green, and I want a watercolor effect. So I think I'm going to use the 2-0. And what you can't do is you can't kind of do this and then talk or answer the phone, then go back, because it's dried. And you can actually see on some videos, as I'm doing this, it's wet, shiny, and it dries following me almost instantly, within about 2 seconds. That's what you need. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. So we're going to find a green. And again, I love my little book of colours because I just flip to the greens. There's a sap green. And again, I like pastel colours in this particular way of working. It just suits. So I'm just going to, let's see if I can, again, just a fairly damp rigger. And we're going to pick a little bit of this colour up and we're going to move that about. And we have that really lovely watercolour effect. And when you touch, you know that you're not wasting any, because when you get to 0, obviously pale, there's no colour left on your brush. So every scrap of colour that comes off your paper palette is on your page. And this works really well in colour books. So again, flip over, you can see it. You can see it. Oops, sorry. Oh, for goodness sake, Mrs. You can see it, but you can't see through. But you can see it. So you can it shows through, but it doesn't go through. And it's a watercolour. And it's a really lovely, peaceful way to work. There's no hair dryers, there's no gouache, there's no canvas, what we cut with canvas when you're doing an oil painting. Oh my goodness me, it's gone. But you cover your canvas with it. No, I can't remember. Sorry, guys. But normally people coat their pages with it when they're Bible journaling. And I think Bible journaling should be quiet. It's a simple, quiet thing, not hair dryers and noise. And it's a very quiet, easy thing to do, because you want to be in an easy mood when you do it. At least I do anyway. And again, you can flip through, so we can keep to the same greens for our leaves. They're flowers are those. So I'll probably change to a cedar green. And I do need to be comfortable for this, so you've got to have the arc of your finger and your hand. It's got to be more comfortable. Probably move to a number 1 brush now. But there's no reason, as long as you leave this to dry, you can't go back the other way. You do it straight away, you get a crinkle, but it is dry. So the other cedar one, that looks probably more like a leaf. So we'll start here. I seem to have got a bit of dirt on the page, but I do have a nice little watercolor effect. Let's see if I can just make a little bit more on my desk. So we'll just have a flick for a berry. So we've got Crimson Lake. So don't twist to a point, pick up a little bit of colour and then just stroke that colour in. Now you've got to be a bit careful with the reds because they're very strong. And again, you've got to then start all over again, dunk the water, twist to a baby white to a point, and then manipulate that colour. If somebody could tell me what that is, that would be brilliant, because it's going to annoy me all day. Gesso, it's just arrived. It's on the slow train from the brain. So some people use gesso, but if it crinkles a lot, I iron the page. But this is where I like small designs in pastel colours. I think pastel colours lend themselves quite well to the Bible. And again, that's all dried. There's a tiny bit of crinkle. There's a tiny bit of crinkle, and you can see it. But it hasn't gone through. It just shows through. So very quickly, I'll just show you the page in the Creative Bible, because you don't always just have to use it in your own designs. You can actually use it the same method in this one. And I haven't done the first page there, but I've done this page and I've done this page, and I love the purple and the blue on this butterfly. And there is a video, I think, of this. Oops, I almost tried the wrong way around. Sorry, guys. And I've got some pretty strong colours there. And as you can see, just pan out a little bit. There's some pretty strong colours, and the only one I think that showed through, no, it doesn't show through. I was thinking would be the butterfly, but again, it's quite strong colours. But when we flip over, you can see it, but it hasn't gone through. And the same with this one. You flip over, and that's my design, which I wanted to put. It didn't go with everything else, so that's why I decided to have the different Bible, so I could put all my own designs on it. And again, hardly any show through at all, and yet we've got some quite dark colours on there. So I did have to iron this page, I think, and I ironed this page. And if you have a travel iron, we don't use anymore, can't have steam for obvious reasons. I actually used this little plastic. But very cool, a very cool setting, and I ironed the crinkles out. So if they bother you that much, you can iron them out. But I thought that these Derwent watercolor pencils are fantastic for colouring in your Bible because, again, they do not go through. And I can't use pencils anymore because I just can't use them with my hands. So I just thought I'd show you that easy way to work with your watercolors. And of course, you use this in your colour books as well. Has anybody got any questions? A quick slurp of tea because hubby made me a cup of tea, so I have to drink it. And again, this paper is the same. And one of the ways to practice is I found a black and white napkin, and I decided that I would practice on this black and white napkin. And again, there's some pretty strong colours here. And this is when I forgot and I picked up Inktense, so it went through. But none of the others did, and they're pretty bright colours there. There's some quite bright colours. I haven't got the tags in here yet either. I suppose the other thing you could do is to stick them in. If you were sticking things in, this particular glue stick's probably very good. Colour them the colours you want, stick them in. I've made some stickers, and again, I've left them black and white because I might be colouring a different page and then my colours won't match. So as long as I leave them black and white, as I'm putting them into the Bible page, I can then colour them the colour that I want. So I think the same with the pencil one. So I really like the watercolour effects. Very, very soft. I'm not sure if there's a lag on chat here. I'm not sure. So that's drawn with mine. Oh, I was going to test. That's what I was going to do. I was going to test the archival pen to see if it was waterproof or not. So this is the archival pen. So we'll do exactly the same. We'll take the number 1 brush. I think that's number 2. Yeah, number 1. And dunk it in water. Draw it back and twist it to a point. We'll use the same colours. So we've got Crimson Lake. We'll use Crimson Lake in the middle. Now that was quite strong, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And of course it did a bigger space as well. So that's quite a strong colour. Start again, and you could do this little one. And again, you get to judge how much colour you need to match things up. So again, that was quite nice. We should need a bit more colour. No, that was a bit too damp, that actually. So we'll get a crinkle, but it doesn't bother me too much. I just love the watercolour effect. And if there is a crinkle, it's not a very large space. Now, I have got my hand in the wrong place, but never mind. Let's see what happens. And then we can have our nice cedar green. And again, a lovely watercolour effect. And then we have a bronze colour. I think this is quite nice. This might do for this kind of bark area here. So as far as we know, at the moment, it's not, when it's touching the colour, it's not going through, so that's okay. And back to the cedar green. So archival is also waterproof. I mean, I thought it would be if it was going in a Bible page, but I just wanted to check. And back to our geranium lake. And I have a little petal out here. And we have these little colours here. So let's see just how strong we can go. I don't normally think about strength. I just think about a watercolour effect. So, and keeping that page barely damp. That's the other important thing. If you went in there with an ordinary water brush, the whole page would be trashed straight away. Really love these colours. I don't know why the colours were different than the other ones. Go back to that olive and we'll have a stray leaf coming out. And I really love those colours. They're a lot stronger than they look. But really pretty. And again, you can see them, but there's no bleed through, and you can hardly see them. So I have to say, I love the colours. We'll try a deep purple. It's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to use the bigger brush. Number 2 brush. Again, not too wet because we don't want that too wet. And we'll have a light violet. So thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope everybody's all right. A bit of a change from Ustream because I pressed a button twice and I kind of messed it up, so it wouldn't release the record button. So thank you everybody for YouTube for watching, and if you have any comments, please put them in the links in the comment box below. I do try to get back to everybody as soon as possible. Hi Crash, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? So really like the colours, and again, you know, that's dark violet, although it's a watercolour dark violet, but you can't see it. And sometimes I like these designs with a black line around them rather than a thin line. So actually, I might use that. I like that. I like that. It's kind of almost a stained glass window effect. And that's probably what I'll be using when I do the stained glass windows in Selby Abbey. So I have been known to use brighter colours. So thanks for joining me, guys. That's the end of the stream. It was just very quickly to just show you the different Bible techniques that you can use with watercolour. And you can get, it works in all sorts of pages for the Bible pages. And the Derwent watercolour pencils, being only on a paper palette, I wouldn't scratch them on and then use them like I sometimes do, but I would suggest you put those on a paper palette. And if you don't want to make squares, just make little squares. I mean, I know that says Inktense, but I have made little squares. And then you can mix your colours together and you can really get a lovely effect. But I wanted to show you that you can get a lovely watercolour effect with Derwent watercolour pencils on very, very thin Bible pages. And if you can do it on this, you can do it on any colour page, because a lot of books are a lot thicker than this, but some are a bit thinner. But if you can master this, you can do it on any paper. So thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. And I hope you all have a pleasant afternoon. Take care, everybody.